What's up everybody, this is Danny. It's iPhone launch day. I ended up getting the iPhone XS, the XS Max, and the Series 4 Apple Watch, which I think is the star of the show this year, and also some cases. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna unbox all of these and kind of show you what comes in the box, what's new with these products, and then I'm gonna go out there and take some sample photos and video with the new iPhones and kind of give you an idea of what the new cameras can do. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're gonna go ahead and take these cases out of the way. Let's go ahead and start with the new iPhones. So we're gonna unbox both of them at the same time. These are the new gold colors that are out, and they are both 512 gigs. So you can just imagine what this costs, because the price for these two phones are pretty hefty. They start at $1,000 and then $1,099 for the XS Max. Paperwork, SIM ejector tool.
Well, what about the stickers?
They're worth $1,000. Here we go. Both new gold colors right here. So I'm not sure if you're a fan of gold, you might like this. I kind of dig it. I like the sides. I'm not sure about the back color, but look at the back. Doesn't that look like some pantyhose? Come on, man. Look, you turn it to the side. It looks different. Granny pantyhose, gold. So let's go ahead and take the wrap off of these, because I know you guys like that. Moment of silence. All right. And the XS Max. So we'll set these two to the side real quick and see what comes in the box. If you look, the orientation of the power brick and the ear pods are actually different in these boxes. I'm not sure why. And another thing here is you are not going to get a 3.5 millimeter dongle anymore to Lightning. They took that away, so I'm not sure what's going on there. I don't like that. And you also get this tiny, archaic brick that is, what is this? 5 volts. It's a 1 amp charger in 2018. That's kind of crazy. And you get the Lightning cord. Nothing special when it comes to iPhones. If you've unboxed an iPhone before, that's what you're gonna get. Let's go ahead and start these phones up. And there they go, they're turning on right now. So the biggest difference here that you're gonna see in these two phones is I think that the XS Max is probably the phone that you wanna get. If you have an iPhone 10, you probably shouldn't get the XS. There's some improvements here, but I'm gonna make a whole separate video on that. But you get a 5.8 inch display here, just like you did on the iPhone 10, on the XS, and then you get a 6.5 inch display on the XS Max. So that is a big display. What is this? Get this measuring tape out of here. If you're wondering how big the XS Max is in comparison to some other devices, here you go. Here is the iPhone 8 Plus. So you know that has a pretty big form factor. And if you put them side by side, actually, they're almost the exact same dimensions. And if you look, actually the XS Max is a little bit shorter. So if you're used to that form factor, you should be just fine, even with that big 6.5 inch display. And here's the Galaxy Note 9 next to it. And if you look, the Note 9 is quite a bit taller, a little bit skinnier though. So that's where it kind of falls in between. So if you're wondering what the size comparison is like, there you go. Of course, it's got Face ID just like the iPhone 10 did. Let me set this up. Yep, you really can't look more stupid than doing this. There we go. If you compare the design, the iPhone 10 looks almost identical to the XS. So if you looked at it side by side, you probably really couldn't tell the difference apart from this new gold color. But the one thing that you will notice, if you are OCD, you're definitely gonna notice, because if you look at the speaker grills on the bottom, they are not symmetrical. I know that's gonna drive some people crazy. And another thing that's gonna irk you is that if you have an iPhone 10 case, it will not work with the iPhone XS, because if you look ever so slightly, look at how the camera cutout is. They moved it slightly, so your 10 cases will not work with the XS. But obviously you're gonna get some major changes here. Number one is the A12 Bionic. You're moving up from the A11. You're gonna get faster processing there. Not huge on the CPU performance, but you're gonna get double the GPU performance. So you know you're gonna be more future-proof with the XS and the XS Max. And you're also gonna get 1 more gigabyte of RAM, so you get 4 gigabytes of RAM there. You do get some better stereo separation in the speakers, so you're gonna get slightly better audio there. The official battery numbers are out. The XS actually does have a smaller battery at 2658 milliamp hours. compared to the iPhone 10. But if you're wondering, the iPhone XS Max has a 3,174 milliamp hour battery. So let's make this simple. If you're wondering what you should buy between a XS Max and a XS, the internal specifications are exactly the same. The only thing you're gonna gain is a larger battery and a larger screen. So if those two things are important to you, you should probably go for the XS Max. Both the XS and the XS Max, they both get new camera sensors this year. They are both still dual 12 megapixel sensors. Then you get f1.8 here on the 12 megapixel main shooter, and then the telephoto, you get an f2.4 aperture. But they do have some neat camera tricks this year where you can change the bokeh effect in the background. There's also a new smart HDR mode where it takes different blends of different exposures to give you a better shot. So that's also nice to see. And it looks like that they've added HDR 4K video, which is really nice, and you can still shoot 4K 60. And the front-facing camera is still the same, but you actually get 1080p 60 frames per second on the front-facing camera, which is cool. And you finally get stereo microphone pickup. This has been one of the biggest things about the iPhone that I hated. Audio has always been terrible, so that's great that stereo pickup is now available on these new iPhones. When it comes to the feel, they do feel the same, but Apple says there is a more reinforced and tougher glass on this. I really can't tell the difference. I guess it does feel maybe somewhat a little bit grippier, and it does get a bump up from IP67 water resistance now to IP68 in the new iPhones. So that's really good to see, because if you decide that you want to stay underwater for 2 meters for over 30 minutes, then I guess you can take your iPhone XS and XS Max with you. That was a lot to break down with the new iPhones, but hopefully this video helped you make a buying decision. So let me know which one that you're going for. I'm personally gonna pick the Max model because it's just different from what I had from the iPhone 10. So I'm curious which one that you would like. I definitely picked up a few new cases here, but cases are kind of boring. So what I'll do is I'll cover that in the full review, which one I like best, and even the Apple Watch Series 4. That's gonna be a separate video and comparison. So I'm going out. I'm gonna show you what this camera can do. Stay tuned for a lot more coverage on these new iPhones, and I'll see you in the next one.